All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're doing a deep dive into some fascinating science. The idea that a specific ancient sound might actually have the power to biologically rewire the brain and pull it out of depression. We're going to break down the neuroscience and see what the research is telling us.
So let's start with the big question, the one that really frames this entire conversation. Is depression just a matter of willpower? Something you can just snap out of? Or is it a very real, physical, biological state?
Well, the science is pretty much settled on this. Depression is not a choice. It's a systemic biological failure, a complex breakdown in the very hardware and software of your nervous system. And if it's a biological problem, well, that means it just might have a biological solution.
And that's where this comes in. Now, for our purposes today, we're not looking at this as a prayer or anything spiritual. Think of it as a bioresonance tool. It's a precise 24-syllable sound frequency that some researchers believe can physically interact with your nervous system and, well, recalibrate it.
Okay, first up, let's dive deep into your brain's chemical control room. We're talking about the neurochemicals that literally govern your mood, your motivation, and how you feel. This is ground zero for where the change begins.
Now, this is fascinating. This chart gives us a perfect snapshot of a brain in a depressive state. And you can see it right there. Your happiness molecule, serotonin, it's tanking. Dopamine, your motivation and reward chemical, also way down. And meanwhile, cortisol, that nasty stress hormone, is just running wild. That is the internal chemical cocktail of depression.
So the big question is, how on earth can a sound fix this chemical mess? Well, the theory is that the specific vibration of the mantra actually stimulates your brain to start producing more serotonin and dopamine again, basically turning the taps back on, while at the same time helping to bring those cortisol levels back down. And this isn't just a wild guess. A 2014 study by Dr. B.R. Sharma in the International Journal of Yoga actually observed these kinds of changes in people who practiced it.
But look, tweaking your brain chemistry, that's just the first domino to fall. Now let's see how that initial push can start a chain reaction that calms your entire body's stress response. So this is the really cool part, the mechanics of it. The rhythmic sound is thought to stimulate something called the vagus nerve, which is like this superhighway connecting your brain to all your major organs. When you stimulate that nerve, you activate your parasympathetic nervous system. That's your body's rest and digest, or chill out system. And according to research from scientists like Dr. Shirley Telles, this whole process basically acts like a biological off switch for anxiety.
Okay, hold on, because this is where things get, well, pretty mind-blowing. We've talked about changing chemicals, we've talked about flipping a switch to calm the body, but now we're talking about physically changing the architecture of your brain.
And a huge piece of this puzzle really dropped in 2015. Researchers at Jefferson University, led by Dr. Andrew Newberg, used fMRI scans to look at people's brains, and the evidence they found was undeniable. The brain wasn't just feeling different, it was physically becoming a different brain. Just look at the difference here. On the left, you've got a brain under chronic stress. Notice that amygdala, the fear center. It's enlarged, overactive. And the prefrontal cortex, your brain's CEO, is weak. Now look at the brain on the right. With regular practice, the amygdala has literally shrunk. The fear center is smaller, quieter. And at the exact same time, the prefrontal cortex gets denser, stronger. You're literally building a brain that is hardwired for calm and for clear-headed command. So all this modern science, the fMRIs, the neurochemistry, that gives us the how. It's the blueprint. But what's really amazing is that ancient wisdom already described the what, the actual lived experience of this whole transformation. Listen to this. Man's mind is the creator of his hell and heaven. With the arrival of right intellect, the doors of mental hell close. Now that might sound philosophical, but it's not. It's actually a biological description. That right intellect they're talking about, that's what a denser prefrontal cortex and a shrunken amygdala feels like. When you build that brain, the doors of mental hell, that biological state of depression, can actually start to close.
All right, let's pull all of this together. We've gone from chemicals to nerves to the physical structure of the brain. So what are the big biological takeaways here?
It really boils down to these four massive biological shifts. First, you get the chemical balancing, getting that serotonin and dopamine back online. Second, you hit the neural off switch, calming your whole system down through the vagus nerve. Third, you're actually rewiring the brain, physically shrinking the fear center. And all of that leads to number 4,
a state of emotional command, or what the ancients called right intellect.
Which leaves us with one last really powerful question to think about. We've seen some pretty compelling evidence that a specific sound frequency can help rebuild the brain, to move it from a state of depression towards a state of command. So, if that's possible, what else inside you is just waiting for the right command to change?